Hello everyone and welcome to the SF-BAM I280 rolling photo shoot briefing video. The purpose of this video is to get you guys up to speed with slow shutter speed photography, the route that we will be using, and how the photo shoot will go. With that said, let's get going. Now the whole purpose of this photo shoot is to avoid having photos on our Facebook walls looking like this. Wow, that is painful to look at. Without putting everyone to sleep, I'm just going to simplify things and say that typically you're going to worry about two types of shutter speed, fast and slow. Fast is much more common because when it comes to cameras, especially on cell phones, it's going to automatically go for the fastest shutter speed that it can get away with. Unfortunately, fast shutter speeds tend to freeze everything in the photo. By using slow shutter speed, we are able to maintain relative blur to the subject, hence preserving the illusion of speed. The slower the shutter speed, the faster the apparent motion of the subject. And before you know it, you can actually get down to such a low shutter speed that you can make my wife's Vespa look like it's doing over 100 miles an hour. I kid you not. Now, one question I get asked a lot is, why I280 between Hillcrest and Edgewood? Well, there are multiple reasons. Number one, it's an interstate. We need the room to take these photos. It tends to distort the subject if you shoot too close, and shooting at a motorcycle right next to you, think fisheye lens. Number two, for an interstate, I280 is incredibly light on the traffic. It's much easier to work with than, say, 101. Number three, good background to get blur. We have trees, we have grassy hills. It all works towards the illusion that we are capturing. And last but not least, lighting, especially in the morning and the afternoons, it paints the subject very, very well. Now let's dive into the meat and potato of this video, and that is how this shoot will proceed. After meeting at Hillcrest at the Chevron gas station, the photo car will lead the group of motorcycles onto the freeway, I-280 southbound. From the moment we enter the freeway from Hillcrest, it's 11.8 miles to Edgewood, approximately 9 to 10 minutes at our speeds. Once on the freeway, the photo car will immediately move over to the number 3 lane, that's third from the right. The first motorcyclist is key to this photo shoot. This motorcyclist will immediately assume position in the number 2 lane, about 1 car length behind the photo car. And the reason why is because this motorcyclist will be blocking traffic from interfering with the photo shoot. Believe you me, nothing ruins a photo more than the bumper of a car that's getting into the frame. All other motorcyclists stay in the number 1 lane. Expect the photo car to set a speed of approximately 65 to 75 miles an hour. It could be more or it could be less. The driver will be aiming to set a pace that keeps us from overtaking cars from ahead, while at the same time keeping us from holding up traffic from behind. Once the photographer is ready, he or she will give the group a thumbs up signal. Upon reaching that signal, the first motorcyclist moves up into position, abeam the rear bumper of the photo car. At that point, think Blue Angel or Thunderbird at an air show. Your job is to maintain your position off of the photo car as the photographer does his or her work. From the time that you settle into position and the photographer raises his or her lens at you, you have 60 to 90 seconds of photography. That's 60 to 90 seconds of you being the center of the photographic universe. It is key to remain as steady as possible on the throttle as you attempt to maintain your position. The reason why is any difference in the relative motion of your motorcycle compared to that of the photo car will reflect in the photos. At first glance, this photo appears to be fine. However, there are small, minute focus errors due to the motorcycle not maintaining a steady position off of the photo car. In this second photo, it is apparent that the focus is far more crisp. The rider was able to maintain her position very precisely when this photo was taken. Again, maintaining your position is key. Speaking of position, The photographer may use hand signals to gesture at you that you're beginning to drift outside the ideal area. These signals should be readily noticeable if you are roughly at the 4 o'clock position. However, if you are further towards the 3 o'clock position of the car may accelerate so that the photographer can get your attention. A backward hand gesturing towards the front of the car indicates that the photographer wants you to move forward. If the photographer starts pushing his palm towards the back of the car, he wants you to move back. It is slightly different for pairs in that the photographer will first gesture with his hand at the motorcyclist that he or she wants to move up or back. Once the photos are obtained, the photographer will gesture with a chopping motion to the motorcyclist that he or she is cleared to proceed to Edgewood. The next motorcyclist in line moves up, and it's rinse, lather, repeat. A note to the second to last motorcyclist having his or her photos taken. Once those photos are obtained, the photographer will chop towards the rear of the car, indicating it's time for you to switch positions with the blocker in the number 2 lane. Decelerate and then move over into the number 2 lane. The blocker then moves forward and assumes position in the number 1 lane. When the photographer is done obtaining photos of the last motorcyclist, the final chopping motion will be a signal to both motorcycles to proceed to Edgewood and the meeting point. Oh, and a note on poses and gestures. Poses are great. Gestures are fine. Anything above? Officially, I've got to discourage that. I know, I'm a killjoy. Sorry. Anyhow, at the turnaround point on Cañada, once the photo car arrives, there will be a short break as the photographer finishes analyzing the photos. Once that is complete, the group will be signaled to turn around and head back to 280 for the return to the Chevron gas station a la Millbury Avenue exit. The only change in the routine is that the photographer may give certain motorcyclists more time with their photo shoot on the return trip. This is due to the photographer identifying that one or more motorcyclists may not have an adequate number of acceptable shots. And that's it for the briefing video. I do apologize for the dry nature of it. Hopefully, though, it was informative. If anyone has any questions, feel free to PM me or pull me aside at the Chevron gas station prior to your photo shoot. Have a good day.